Welcome back to the JSFL After Week 8 podcast. We had a good week. A week of a lot of almost upsets and a few upsets this week during the league. And let's jump right in to the Week 8 recap. Week 8 started with Thursday night primetime. New Orleans hosting New York. And New York looked like the dominant team most of this game. They ended up winning this game. And yeah, they went to 2-6 and now New Orleans down to 6-2 as it ended with Brady Blackburn's first career pick to seal it off, and it was pretty crazy that he was able to do that. And he sealed the game, and he got his first career pick. So good job to Brady Blackburn. Then the next one was the businessman at the Predator. No, that's not it. That's next week. The next one was the musician. No, Fishers at Earthquake. I don't know why I couldn't read that. Fishers at Earthquake. The Fishers held the game for most of the game. Then the Earthquake come down with Jacob Kidd, second stringer. He gets to the fourth and goal. As he's getting hit on fourth and goal, delivers a dime to the back corner of the end zone and hits Patrick Patterson. Tony Jackson can't respond, and LA won. They had the best record in the league now, 7-1, and Minneapolis went down to 3-5. Then your next 1 p.m. game, it was the Hounds at the Natives. Hounds and Natives was really close for some reason. But Natives end up winning it. Curran Poe just does what he does, and he gets the win against the Hounds. But the Hounds put up a good fight in a snowy game that we had. A little bit of snow. Then you had the Wind at the Bats. The Wind were fighting in this game. They got out to they were behind for a little bit. Then they got out to a pretty nice lead. But the Bats actually started fighting back. And then when they were finally going to get back into the game, the Wind get a turnover, turns into 6. The turnover was 6, actually, by the defense. And yeah, then it sealed up for the Wind, and the Wind go 3-5, and the Bats down to 4-4. Then you had the Gila Monsters at Power. Power pretty handily did this one. Not too much to comment on this game. It was a good win. And yeah, Power won. Then your Monday night primetime, really boring game. The Predators at Enforcers. Predators starting Joe Parker, his first start since that championship in season 1. He went 15 for 40, 117 yards, and 2 picks. Joe Parker's not good. There's a reason he didn't play at all last year. Because, Atlanta, they didn't want to trade for the quarterback market because Hudson went down. And yeah, so they tried getting Joe Parker to see what he could do. He could not do much. And Houston didn't even do that much on offense either. Warren Jones was looking rough. And Atlanta's defense was balling out. Just Joe Parker couldn't do anything with the many opportunities given. And Warren Jones did more. And yeah, so that was the recap. And we'll go to the power rankings. At 12th is the Atlanta Predators at 3-5. A rough game with Joe Parker. I'm not seeing a good stretch for Atlanta anytime soon here. 11th is the Minneapolis Fishers. Fought with LA, but still, this team has looked really bad the past few weeks. Number 10, the New York Businessmen. Good win against New Orleans, but I don't know how long it will last for them. Number 9, Cincinnati Hounds. Fought with Seattle, but they just turn over the ball too much, and that's why they're 1-7. So, number 8 is the Charlotte Bats at 4-4. They're a middle-of-the-pack team. They're not great. They're not going to wow you, but they'll have some good games. So, I'll have the 4-4 Bats at 8. 7, the Phoenix Gila Monsters at 3-5. Lost pretty well to Detroit Power this week, but we'll see if they can redeem themselves this week. And yeah, they're at 7. 6 is the Kansas City Wind at 3-5. Good win against Charlotte. And maybe they'll be on the rise now. Chad Harrison been good this season. A lot better than Shooter and Parker. They seem like they upgrade every year. But we'll see how Harrison does in the final 4 weeks on the final stretch. Then you got the 5, Detroit Power 4-4. Looking like they're in the driving seat for the North as long as they just keep doing what they're doing. And they've got good in these past few weeks. 4 is the shaky Seattle Natives team at 6-2. Been looking rough the past 2 weeks. Curran Poe not been playing up to the usual standard. But again, it's Curran Poe. They have weapons all over and a pretty solid defense. Number 3, New Orleans Musicians 6-2. Had an L to New York, but besides that, the only thing really wrong right now is quarterback. Cole Nicholas has outperformed Seth Skies this season. But it's still Seth Skies, so I'm assuming some good stuff from the veteran. And the defense, again, balls out. So they're still number 3. Number 2 is the Houston Enforcers, 6-2. Rough game against Atlanta, but I think they'll bounce back. Houston just sometimes has those trap games that they don't do good in. And number 1 is the best record team, the 7-1 LA Earthquake. LA has not made a postseason yet. They always go like 7-5 and just miss it out to a team. But this year, LA is looking like they could make it. So, yeah, I'm assuming LA is going to make the postseason. And, yeah, they've been really good. Lemus is good. Jacob Kidd's been really good in spot for Terry Foster. Ross Williams is really good. He's making a race to try to get a dark horse MVP candidate. Albert Moore's been good. Jacobs, the defense again, balling out. And, yeah, so that's for the power rankings. Playoff picture: East is the Bats, South is the Musicians, West is the LA Earthquake, North is the Detroit Power, 5th seed the Natives, and 6th seed the Enforcers. In the hunt, the Gila Monsters at 2, and the 1 seed Kansas City, or not the 1 seed. The 2 in the hunt is the Phoenix, and then Kansas City is the top one. I did the tops, so we'll see the tops a month before the season ends. Completions: Harrison at 181, attempts: Harrison at 253. Yards: Harrison at 2,073. Touchdowns: Harrison and Poe tie right now at 12. Interceptions: Hastings leads with 11. Rushing points: Warren Jones in the lead with 86. Attempts: Ross Williams. Now we're running back. Attempts: Ross Williams with 142. Yards: Taylor Little, even though being out 2 weeks, still leads the league in yards with 620. Touchdowns: Rocker and Little at 5. Broken tackles: Julio Jokes at 34. Receiving points: Julio Jokes at 79. Wide receivers: receptions: Eric Fitzgerald 44. Yards: Tyler Jackson 626. And Eric Fitzgerald leads in touchdowns at 6. Receptions: Vincent Morgan at 49 for tight ends now. Yards: Kurt Hammond 579. And touchdowns: Jesse Flowers and Hector McDaniel tie at 4. Defense: the solo tackle leader David Medina 55. Assist: also David Medina at 49. Tackles for loss: Chris Johnson at 15. Sacks: Roland Lemus at 26.5. Interceptions, or too many of them, at 3. And then fumbles: Eddie Spark at 4. So that is it for the tops. And well, let's take a look who could possibly break a record this season as we go to the record book. So I'll tell you which ones I think can be broken. Let's go start quarterback. Possibly yards by Harrison could be broken from Kermit Poe's 3,250 record. Touchdowns, I don't think that'll be broken. That's at 23. Kermit, Poe, and Harrison are at 12. Completions, Dackerson from 275 from last season. I don't know. That might be hard to catch. I don't think they're going to get it this year. Attempts, Shooter from 399. Possibly Harrison could break it, maybe. Rush points, 125 from Poe last season. Or is that? Yeah, that's last season. Jones is at 86. He could break it with some good games. I don't know. Might be a hard one, though. Interceptions, Foster 18 last season. Hastings at 11. I don't know. I think Foster's record might stay, which is a good thing for Hastings. And yeah, so that's for quarterback. So I'm thinking 3 might be broken. Maybe 3. Running backs, 193 yards. 1,493 yards for Little in season 1. That's not going to get broken. Little himself is 800 yards away. Attempts is 142 currently, but the record is 254. No, I don't think that was going to get broken. Touchdowns is at 5 right now in the year. Willie Rogers has 14 from season 2. I don't think that's going to get broken. Broken tackles, Julio Jokes at 34. Little's record is 63. Don't think that one will be broken. And receiving points, Jokes is at 79. He already broke the record, so Julio Jokes is your new receiving leader, so he just got to put his name higher up on the board. So only one can be really broken for this year. Receiving, receptions, Eric Fitzgerald's at 44 right now. The record is 65 by Jackson, so I don't think so. Yards, Tyler Jackson at 626. Albert Moore at 1,044. He'd have to have a really good end of the season, like 100-yard games, all 4 games, so I'm going to say no for now. Touchdowns, Fitzgerald at 6. Alvin Moore at 8. That is definitely beatable. I think Eric Fitzgerald could break or tie that record. Tight end, Morgan is the leader right now, 49 for receptions. 74 is Danny Edwards from last year. I don't think he'll break that. Yards, 579 from Hammond. 829 is the record for Larson. I think Hammond can break it. So, Jesse Flowers and Hector McDaniel have 4 touchdowns. The record is 9. I don't think anyone's going to break it. I think Chet Woods' season 1 record is saved. Then the defensive record, 75 solo tackles for Henry Virgin of season 1. David Medina could break it. He'd have to have a strong rest of the season though. Assist, right now it's at 49. The record is 67. Could break it again, David Medina. Tackles for loss, the record is 22 by Luke Frankie. Chris Johnson's at 15. He could break it. Have to have a strong season though. Roland Lemis's record is 26.5. He's at 26.5 right now. He's already tied the record. We'll see if he breaks it. He probably will. Trying to compete for an MVP right now. Interceptions. The record, that's 7 for Byron Baxter of season 1. I don't think anyone's going to break it this season. And fumbles, Eddie Sparks at 4 right now. The record is 4, so he's already tied the record. Let's just see if he can put himself in front. I think he will. And yeah. So that's the records. So let's look at the offensive player and defensive player of the week. Offensive player of the week was Joey Adams. 13 attempts on the ground, 46 yards, and 3 broken tackles. Not much to be done on the ground, but receptions, 10 for 84 and a touchdown. So not a huge performance, but not many offensive huge performances this week. So Joey Adams wins. Then defensively, Dan Marino. 7 solo tackles, 4 assists, 4 tackles for loss, a sack, and a safety. So good stuff by Dan Marino. He gets Defensive Player of the Week. Let's go Offense and Defensive Rookie of the Year. Jacob Kidd's at number 3 for Offensive Rookie. 2 is Morgan, and 1 is Harrison. Jacob Kidd putting himself on the list is new. And Defensive Rookie of the Year, number 3 is new as well. Lamar Campbell. Number 2 is Zachary Wong. And number 1 is Andrew Saunders in the lead right now. So good stuff there for Offensive Rookie, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Let's go to the MVP race. Number 10, Julio Jones, the running back from Phoenix. 9, Tony Daxton, quarterback Minneapolis. 8 is Sean Richardson, quarterback Detroit. 7, Chad Harrison, quarterback Kansas City. 6, Warren Jones, quarterback Houston. 5, Ross Williams, running back LA. Number 4, Chris Johnson, edge New Orleans. Number 3, Brian Tepps, quarterback Phoenix. Number 2, Roland Lemis, edge LA. And number 1, Kermit Poe puts himself up by 1 point over Roland Lemis. He's the quarterback from Seattle. So he's the new leader in the MVP race. And let's go to offense and defense. 12th for offense, let's go start. 12th is the Businessmen. 11th, Predators. 10th, Bats. 9th, Fishers. 8th, Wind. 7th, Musicians. 6th, Earthquake. 5th, Hounds. 4th, Gila Monsters. 3rd, Natives. 2nd, Enforcers. 1st, Power. Russian offense, 12th, Wind. 11th, Bats. 10th, Earthquake. 9th, Musicians. 8th, Businessmen. 7th, Predators. 6th, Fishers. 5th, Natives. 4th, Gila Monsters. 3rd, Hounds. 2nd, Enforcers. 1st, Power. Passing offense, 12th, Businessmen. 11th, Predators. 10th, Fishers. 9th, Hounds. 8th, Gila Monsters. 7th, Enforcers. 6th, Power. 5th, Musicians. 4th, Bats. 3rd, Earthquake. 2nd, Natives. 1st, Wind. Defensively, 12th is the Kansas City Wind. 11th, Power. 10th, Bats. 9th, Hounds. 8th, Natives. 7th, Fishers. 6th, Predators. 5th, Businessmen. 4th, Earthquake. 3rd, Gila Monsters. 2nd, Musicians. 1st is the Houston Enforcers. Rushing defense, 12th, Hounds. 11th, Businessmen. 10th, Natives, or 10th, Bats. 9th, Natives. 8th, Predators. 7th, Gila Monsters. 6th, Earthquake. 5th, Fishers. 4th, Musicians. 3rd, Wind. 2nd, Power. And 1st, Enforcers. Pass defense, 12th, Wind. 11th, Power. 10th, Predators. 9th, Fishers. 8th, Natives. 7th, Bats. 6th, Earthquake. 5th, Businessmen. 4th, Musicians. third Gila Monsters, second Enforcers, and first is the Hounds. So there's your offense and defensive stats. And yeah, so there we got the injury report next. So let's go over the injury report for all teams. We got, for the Businessmen, Jacob Snow returns this week, and Corey Palmer also returns this week. Ken Jones will be back week 11. For Charlotte, John Joseph returns this week. And also Sammy Cornelius returns this week. Washington Tory is out till week 10, though. For Atlanta, they have Perry Webb back on the wild card. Eric Shady returns this week, though. Trent Savage back on the wild card. Trent Hudson back week 12. Brent Ruiz back week 11. And Xander Knox back week 11. New Orleans. No injuries as of right now. Again, these injuries will happen. There will be two, the most at 2 for each team. It goes to a generator, so there could be more injuries by game time, but for right now, this is what it's at. For Houston, Hayden McKee back week 10 and Mel Dexter back week 12. Nothing too serious there. Gila Monsters, Humphrey Charles back week 10. Esteban Sylvester's back in the divisional, and Dexter Sex back week 11. Kansas City, Kyle Shooter back week 9, so he returns this week. He's the backup. Dominic Travi back week 11. He is also the backup. And Willie Rogers back week 12. Owen Dickerson out for the season. Otis Craig back week 10. Craig Schneider out till week 11. And Andrew Webb out till week 9. So he returns this week. Again, Kansas City, probably the most beat up team right now. It's been rough for them. Yeah, so it's hurt their playoff push, but they're still fighting. Now, for LA, they're not that hurt, and that's what has been a big thing to their success. They have 2 injuries. Terry Foster, their quarterback, back week 12, and Caden Hollister back on the wild card. So, yeah, Caden Hollister only got back for 1 game before he got injured again. Seattle, they're decently banged up, too. Diego Mooney, he was already back last week. Never mind. Henry Berger back week 10. Peyton Quartz returns this week, so they got their star tackle back. And Ronaldo Smith is out for the season. Minneapolis, Yvonne Ifsten out for the season. Never mind. I don't know why I still have that on for week 7. And Lewis McCormick. Oh, no, he's back. So the only one they have out is Yvonne Ifsten right now. I gotta erase some of those. Detroit, Winford Peters back week 12. Taylor Little returns this week, so big thing for Detroit fans. And Hugo Bell will be back on the championship week. And finally, Cincinnati, Frank Jog. Oh, he's suspended for the rest of the season. Was supposed to return week 12, but he got suspended now. And Gary Riley returns this week. And Lawrence Bush is out till week 11. So that's the injury report. And to finish it off, we got my predictions and the week 9 schedule release. Earthquake at Wynn is Thursday night prime time. Earthquake coming into the Wynn trying to come and get back into the playoff push. I don't think they can. Injured team is going to be playing a good team right now. I think LA's hot, and the defense will be too much for this battered up Kansas City team. So I think LA gets to win here. Then you got Businessmen at Predators, what I was talking about earlier. This might be a hard one to watch. I'm going to give it to the Atlanta Predators, though. I think New York will come into this one a little too hot. Yes, it is at, it's at the Predators, actually, too. So I think Joe Parker gets more accustomed to the system. Again, probably won't play good, but a little more accustomed and just does enough for Atlanta to win. Musicians at Enforcers. A nice divisional matchup here. Both teams, Houston barely got that win against Atlanta last week. New Orleans coming in mad from the loss at New York. I think New Orleans gets the win on the road. I think they're going to come in angry, and this inconsistent Houston team is going to get put into submission by this really good New Orleans defense. I know Houston has the best defense in the league, but I think New Orleans gets it done. Then you got the Natives at the Fishers. I think the Natives might bring this one to a shootout because Tony Jackson can play, but they run the ball a lot more than they should. So I think the Natives get it done. Power at the Gila Monsters. Yes, a rematch. That's how the schedule looked it out. But this time it's in Phoenix. I think Phoenix gets the W. I think even though Taylor Little comes back, he's been out of football for a few weeks. So I think Phoenix somehow gets this W at home. And they like to fight at the end of the season to get into the postseason, so I wouldn't be surprised if they start now. Then you got, let's see. Oh, yeah. Monday Night Primetime, Hounds at Bats. I think this one will be pretty handily well by the Bats. I think the Hounds will turn it over early, and then Edward Phillips will coast them into a win, and that's how that game will go. So, yeah, that's how I think Week 9 will hang out. An update. So for next season, Season 4, College Series also Season 3. That will be on Madden 23. So we're switching from Madden 20, what we have right now, to Madden 23. I'm working on rosters and playbooks for the new head coaches that are coming. So yeah, that's a big update. And yeah, so that is it for Week 8 podcast. I'll see you Thursday night primetime, LA, Kansas City.